The film begins by showing a city ruled by a cruel woman named Hilda, who seized the city from its inhabitants and controls it with a brutal show designed to frighten people, called The Culling, where the show is an annual performance that involves the massacre of citizens who oppose Hilda. Meanwhile, deep in the remote forest, live a young boy named Boy, who is a survivor of the culling and determined to become a great warrior to avenge the death of his family. To do this, he had to undergo extremely harsh and painful training, along with the most trained and dangerous assassin named Shaman. He trains Boy to become the most skilled and deadly killer that did not act like a child. Furthermore, Boy is also trained not to need friends or food. However, when Boy is alone, he often thinks about his sister named Mina who died during the culling. Although Boy cannot clearly remember anything else before the event, memories of Mina always linger in his mind, because she was indeed a very pleasant sister to Boy. Additionally, Mina strongly disliked Hilda and openly showed her defiance to Boy by flashing 5 fingers, indicating her lack of fear towards Hilda, although in reality, it's very naive because they are still children. On the other hand, Boy is a deaf and mute child. However, he is adept at reading people's lip movements, so he can understand what people are talking about. Every night, Shaman always gives Boy liminal, a substance that puts its user in a state between wakefulness and sleep that really affects Boy, where liminal users can imagine their thoughts, so Boy can no longer distinguish between what is real and what is not. Shaman also tells Boy that memories weaken humans, and he is no longer a child, so everything he has experienced is just dead memories. Shaman then emphasizes that Boy is a tool assigned for one purpose, which is to eliminate Hilda. Besides teaching Boy self-defense, Shaman also trains him to be skilled in using various weapons. It can be said that Shaman is a very comprehensive teacher for Boy because he can teach him everything needed to become a great killer. Sometime later, 10 years had passed and Boy had grown more mature and skilled in battle. However, Mina's shadow often appeared in his mind, and her apparition always appeared before Boy. They even often chatted about something that happened when she appeared. Shortly after, Shaman and Boy are now on the outskirts of the city to sell vegetables. But their presence there coincided with the arrival of Hilda's family, the Vanderkooys, to select participants for the annual culling. The Vanderkooy forces were extremely brutal, forcing all the residents there to participate in the culling event. Everyone had to obey the Vanderkooy family's rules, or they would die on the spot for daring to refuse. While hiding, Boy accidentally sees Gideon, who once entered his house and forcibly took his family away. Shortly after, Gideon's brother-in-law named Glenn appeared and announced to everyone that the culling event would take place tonight. And he instructed the residents who behaved well to be thankful, because they would see those who posed a threat and danger to the Vanderkooy family being eliminated. Glenn then started listing the 12 names of volunteers who were proven to hate and rebel against Hilda, so they had to participate in the event that night. Glenn then chose a man who was caught holding an illegal weapon, meaning he and his family had to participate in the culling as well. However, a woman shouted at Glenn to let them go, especially since the man's child would also going to participate. Seeing someone rebellious, Glenn became very angry and eliminated the woman immediately. Saying this immediately enraged the residents and caused a commotion there. Shortly after, another member of the Vanderkooy family named June 27th appeared. She was the head of security for the Vanderkooy family, so she quickly sorted out all the chaos caused by Glenn. Boy, who witnessed all the slaughter, became very angry and intended to go there to eliminate the entire Vanderkooy family. However, Shaman restrained him, saying that this was not the right time. Not long after, Glenn was somewhat disappointed because June 27th almost killed everyone, so they lacked people for the culling event. However, there had to be 12 people in the event, so he suggested that the surviving children be taken by them. But June 27th immediately rejected this and said that Glenn could take adults but never children. Meanwhile, Shaman urged Boy to leave the place immediately. However, Boy refused because he wanted to settle his past grudge, as now was the right time for him. After that, Boy ran and jumped over the building and continued running until he was near Glenn's car, planning to get into the trunk of the car so he could enter the Vanderkooy family's headquarters. After a long journey, Boy finally found himself inside the Vanderkooy headquarters, where he immediately sneaked around while observing the situation and planning to locate Hilda. Shortly after, one of the Vanderkooy family members named Melanie appeared to meet Glenn and Gideon. At that moment, She was angry because they couldn't find 12 citizens to showcase on the culling show that evening on television, even though she had been preparing for this event for 6 months. However, Gideon instead blamed Glenn, who is also Melanie's husband, for foolishly succumbing to anger and shooting citizens. Upon hearing this, Melanie defended her husband by blaming Gideon, arguing that as the elder brother, he should have been able to handle the situation more easily. Additionally, she didn't want to blame her husband because only Glenn was willing to be seen by the fans. After that, she insisted that Gideon must find the remaining 6 people immediately. On the other hand, the manifestation of Mina appeared beside Boy and asked what he was doing there. At that moment, she thought Boy was on a mission, so she would disguise herself to help him carry out his mission. However, Mina's presence there only disturbed Boy and made him lose track of the van der Kooi family's whereabouts. After that, he started sneaking into the warehouse and saw many armed people there. Not long after, Mina appeared again and said that she had put on disguise clothes, so it would be better for her to go in first to monitor the situation. However, Boy, who forgot that Mina was a manifestation of his own thoughts, tried to save her from being run over by a forklift passing nearby. This incident exposed Boy's infiltration to Glenn and his men. After that, Boy tried to run for cover, but the van der Kooi troops chased him and intended to capture him. Fortunately, with the training that Shaman had given him, Boy fought back and caused a commotion, ultimately killing all the van der Kooi troops in that place. On the other hand, a man named Basho, who was a forced laborer at the place, decised to help Boy if he helped him release the chains binding his legs. Basho then proposed that they work as a team. While Boy faced the troops, Basho would hide behind the cart and push it to carry him out of the place. However, Basho seemed to be a burden to Boy as he only hid from the van der Kooi troops that attacking him. Unexpectedly, a van der Kooi soldier named Dev rose again after just being beaten by Boy. Dev seemed to receive a stimulus from a substance he used, which enhances his strength and makes him not feel any pain at all. Despite being hit multiple times, Dev continues to fight on, even when his legs and arms have been severed from his body. He remains alive and still attempts to attack Boy. At that moment, Basho didn't expect Boy to defeat all the soldiers here alone. However, Glenn suddenly appeared and shot at them, which Basho retaliated, hitting Glenn's leg. Initially, Boy intended to kill Glenn, but he stopped him because Glenn surely had information about Hilda's whereabouts. Basho then threatened Glenn by saying he would drop a machine on his head if he lied to them. Terrified, Glenn revealed that Hilda was at her mansion every year before the culling event. During that time, Hilda would host a grand party for the van der Kooi family. Furthermore, Glenn confessed to both of them that he was reluctant to be there because the van der Kooi family had forced him into this situation. He admitted to wanting to rebel against Hilda. If Boy and Basho needed help, Glenn was the right person to collaborate with. Glenn then assured them that he would lead them both into the van der Kooi family's mansion. However, Basho accidentally dropped the machine he was holding, causing Glenn to die with a crushed head. During the journey to the van der Kooi hiding place, Basho mentioned that he had been in the family's headquarters for 3 years, assembling all the weapons used by the family troops. Apparently, he is a rebel who was captured by the van der Kooi family. After he was captured, Hilda used the culling to intimidate everyone into not helping Basho in his rebellion. After that, Basho asserted that he and the rebels would be ready to help Boy defeat Hilda. Upon arriving at the hiding place, the headquarters appeared deserted with no one in sight. Suddenly, a man emerging from the darkness tried to attack Boy, but the man was stopped by Basho. The man was Benny, another rebel besides Basho. After that, Basho inquired about the whereabouts of the other members, and Benny explained that since Basho was captured by van der Kooi, the people here had disappeared because they were terrified of the culling, so he was the only one left. Hearing this, Basho was deeply saddened, but he reassured Benny that the person he brought was their hope to destroy the van der Kooi family. Basho then explained that Boy was their secret weapon because he had single-handedly wiped out a squad of van der Kooi troops. With Boy with them, he was sure that this was their first opportunity in a long time. So all they needed at that moment was a way to get into the van der Kooi family's house. Not long after, Basho explained the entire family lineage of the van der Kooi family to Boy. In the van der Kooi family, there are 3 siblings: Melanie, who is the business manager and spokesperson, Gideon, who is the street ruler, and June 27th, who is the head of security. Glenn himself is Melanie's husband. where all members of the van der Kooi family were obedient to Hilda. After that, Basho explained that the culling event usually started at 10 o'clock, and the van der Kooi family would leave the house at 8 o'clock. Therefore, they couldn't enter recklessly because the security inside was very tight. However, Basho had prepared a grand plan and was confident that this plan would succeed. Shortly after, the three of them prepared all the weapons and traveled to the large mansion owned by the van der Kooi family. After dispatching 2 guards who were guarding the house, Boy thought he had an important role and complete armament. However, Basho actually instructed Boy to disguise himself as a chef. Once inside the house, Boy saw that the entire van der Kooi family would enter a room for dinner. After that, he headed to the kitchen to execute his plan to eradicate the entire van der Kooi family. The boy then went on a rampage in the kitchen with the intent of getting a knife to eliminate Hilda. When entering the dining room, Boy immediately attacked Hilda. However, he realized that the people at the dining table were not Hilda or the members of the van der Kooi family. Suddenly, Gideon appeared from behind, pointing his pistol at Boy and demanding him to drop the knife. Gideon revealed that they were all actors, except for the old woman who was Hilda's mother. Apparently, Gideon had been preparing this for years to lure out those intending to kill Hilda. However, Boy quickly turned the tables by grabbing Gideon's pistol and subduing him. However, June 27th was behind Boy and then struck him, leading to a fight between them. Initially, Boy managed to press June 27th until her mask came off. But he didn't expect that his opponent was a woman, which caught him off guard, and June 27th quickly landed a blow, causing him to fall from the 3rd floor of the house and render him unconscious. While in a dreamlike state in his memories, Boy seemed to have another memory about himself, Shaman, and his family. Not long after, June 27th woke Boy up and then asked him about Shaman's whereabouts because she could tell from Boy's fighting style, which resembled him. However, Boy remained silent, as he was mute. Gideon then told Boy that he himself was fed up with the annual culling because he was always ordered to chase unclear enemies. However, Hilda continued to hold the massacre event until he had a nightmare about Shaman, so she hid in her bunker because Shaman was still outside hiding in the woods. Hilda was indeed cursed, but this issue would not end if they couldn't capture Shaman. After that, Melanie entered and asked Boy if he was the one who killed her husband. Melanie also became upset because, due to Boy, she had difficulty finding a replacement host for the culling show, as it would take a long time to transform Glenn into his current handsome appearance. In the end, Melanie made Boy an additional participant in the culling event, where she also dressed up Boy to look handsome so that the audience would cheer when he died later. Shortly after, Melanie and June 27th were seen in the studio where they would hold the culling event. Melanie said that Hilda would come there to open the event because Glenn had died. However, June 27th initially objected to this as it could drive Hilda mad, as she hadn't appeared in public for so long, after hiding in the bunker. However, Melanie didn't care about that because her show was more important, and Hilda's presence was the only thing that could stabilize their event. Melanie then instructed her subordinates to bring Boy onto the stage. Shortly after, the event finally began with the host welcoming the visitors. Apparently, they had been celebrating culling for 25 years and removing anyone hindering the city's progress. Culling was claimed as the proudest tradition that originated from humble beginnings, where a brave woman cleaned up the streets for a dream, and that woman was Hilda van der Kooi. Upon seeing Hilda for the first time in so long, Boy couldn't conceal his anger. But he couldn't do anything as his hands were chained. After that, Hilda seemed to go insane on stage, when she's suddenly speaking off-script and incoherently. Moreover, after spotting the silhouette of someone in a robe in the audience tribune, Hilda suddenly pulled out a pistol, terrifying everyone present. Witnessing this, Melanie panicked and rushed in to calm the situation. Suddenly, Boy felt something in his pants pocket, and it turned out to be a small saw deliberately placed by Gideon to test his determination to fight. After that, the event began with several selected individuals perceived as opposing Hilda on stage, surrounded by several people dressed as clowns inviting them to dance on stage. It didn't take long for the clowns to go berserk and attack the 12 individuals seen as opposing Hilda. On the other hand, Boy managed to free himself from the chains binding his hands and prepared to confront the clowns on stage. However, Melanie immediately activated the necklace that restrained Boy's neck, causing him to fall due to the electric shock from the necklace. As Boy was about to be executed, the clown suddenly attacked other clowns around Boy, revealing himself to be Basho. Shortly after, Benny entered the stage and shot all of Vanderkooi's henchmen. This led to a riot and caused all the audience to scatter and leave the venue. At that moment, Melanie became very angry upon seeing this scene. However, Gideon smiled at the chaos unfolding. Shortly after, Boy, Basho, and Benny went crazier on stage, dispatching all the clowns present. Gideon then asked Melanie if she enjoyed the show, confessing that he had provided the saw to instigate Boy's madness on stage. Knowing this, Melanie became furious and then shot Gideon in the back. Meanwhile, the three of them managed to slaughter all of the Vanderkooi forces. Suddenly, Melanie entered the stage and shot at them, hitting Benny and Basho. This resulted in Benny's death, ending his struggle to destroy the Vanderkooi family. Upon seeing this, enraged, Boy chased after Melanie with the intention of avenging Benny's death. After successfully killing Melanie, Boy and Basho ventured deep into the Vanderkooi family bunker to find Hilda. However, the Vanderkooi forces were prepared in the corridors to greet their arrival. Although Boy managed to kill the soldiers, Basho had to die while attempting to fight them. Now, only Boy remained, fighting alone to avenge his family. During his journey to find Hilda, he encountered Gideon, who appeared to be on the verge of death as Melanie had shot him. Gideon then gave Boy an access card so that he could enter Hilda's hiding bunker. Before leaving, Boy intended to kill Gideon first. However, Mina tried to stop him, as it was enough for Gideon. But Boy didn't listen to her because the current Mina was not his sister anymore, because she had long been dead. While in the elevator heading to the bunker, Hilda communicated with Boy and said that her entire army was waiting for him, armed to the teeth. However, he paid no attention to it and showed Hilda a drawing made by Mina when she was a child, which signified that Boy did everything for her death. Upon arriving there, Boy was greeted by June 27th and some of his troops, who surprisingly did not attack Boy, but instead escorted him to meet Hilda in her room. While in the room, Boy was surprised to see a photo of himself there with Mina and Hilda. Surprisingly, Hilda immediately hugged him and said that she was his mother. Hilda also asked if Boy still recognized her, but he shook his head. Knowing this, Hilda then guessed that Shaman must have made Boy forget who he really was. She then explained that all this time Shaman had influenced Boy's mind using liminal, making him forget all his past and turning his mother into his enemy. Shaman had continually indoctrinated Boy to believe that Hilda was the one who killed his mother. Furthermore, Shaman was the one who made Boy deaf and mute by cutting his tongue and injuring his ears. Apparently, the woman who had been appearing in Boy's mind all this time was Shaman's wife, and Shaman himself was the one who killed Boy's father. In the past, Shaman was a trained warrior given a mission to eradicate the entire Vanderkooi family. As Boy's memories gradually returned, it was revealed that he was forced by Hilda to shoot Shaman's family. When Boy was about to shoot Shaman, his mind went berserk, causing him to shoot the people there and allowing Shaman to escape. Frustrated by this, Boy ran into the forest, where Shaman was waiting with the intention of killing him. However, Shaman had another plan, intending to use him to eliminate his own family. Back to the present, Hilda asserted that Shaman had manipulated Boy into seeking revenge. She also revealed that the person in front of him, June 27th, was actually Mina. Hearing this, both Mina and Boy were truly shocked. Because Hilda had hidden this fact from Mina, even though she knew that Shaman had kidnapped her son. However, despite receiving an explanation from his mother, Boy seemed indifferent. But one thing was certain for him: Mina would always be in his thoughts. After that, Hilda felt that Boy was not as she desired, so she ordered Mina to eliminate Boy, believing that he was now a weapon of Shaman to eliminate his own family. At that moment, Boy could only surrender as he received blows from Mina. But when Mina was about to draw her axe, Boy reminded her of their childhood and the challenge they made to Hilda in front of her statue. Seeing this, Mina felt that Boy was still the same as her brother back then and chose to kill Hilda instead. After that, Mina's action provoked all the Vanderkooi troops to attack them both. And she stated to Boy that the way out of this place was the entrance, so they had to run as fast as they could while killing some soldiers who were ready to eliminate them both. During their journey, many soldiers fell by their hands, but a soldier wearing bulletproof armor emerged, continuously firing many bullets at them. After that, they were overwhelmed, leading to Mina getting shot. After defeating the armored troop, they both sought refuge from the gunfire of semi-automatic weapons directed at them, while using the shields from the armored soldiers. Thanks to their teamwork, they finally managed to defeat the enemy. However, dozens of remaining Van der Kooi troops had arrived to eliminate them both. Fortunately, they quickly entered the elevator. Inside the elevator, Mina revealed that she had always tried to find his whereabouts, even though everyone said Shaman had killed him. Both their mother and the large Van der Kooi family had apparently concealed the truth, and they had taken away her most beloved sibling, so she believed they had to suffer, and now they were getting their revenge. Unexpectedly, the elevator they were on descended to the floor where all the Van der Kooi troops were gathered. Upon arriving there, they did not expect that there were no more Van der Kooi soldiers alive on that floor, as Shaman alone had killed the remaining troops. At that moment, Shaman signaled to Boy to also kill Mina, so that the revenge from his past would truly be erased, as only Mina remained from the evil Van der Kooi family still alive. However, Boy was torn about doing this to her because only memories of her had kept him strong enough to endure and live on until now. Seeing Shaman again before her, Mina immediately ran towards him to put an end to everything that still lingered from her past. Seeing Mina nearly dying at the hands of Shaman, Boy finally decided to confront the teacher who had taught him all the martial arts techniques and killing skills as an assassin. Afterward, both Boy and Mina worked together to fight against Shaman. Initially, they both seemed overwhelmed facing Shaman alone after enduring many wounds from the fight. Until finally, the fight became more intense and fierce, ultimately resulting in Shaman dying at the hands of his own student. After that, Boy succeeded in killing Shaman and took Mina away from that place. At that moment, Mina actually wanted Boy to leave her behind so that she could die along with her dark and cruel past in that place. However, Boy only remembered the cherished memories of Mina, whom he loved dearly, urging him to take her away from there to heal her wounds so they could live peacefully and no one could rule over them in the future. Moral lesson from the story: if you're planning a citywide massacre, make sure you don't leave any vengeful kids behind because they might grow up to become a super ninja warrior. And remember, addictive substances won't help you distinguish reality from a very annoying ghost sister.